One of America's newest racetracks, Iowa Speedway, here tonight, Newton, Iowa. The 7/8 of a mile oval was designed and built under this championship driver, Rusty Wallace. Very similar to Richmond, but here tonight for the Overtake iRacing League Truck Series, it's going to be playoff race number 8 with the third round of elimination. The top 8 here tonight are going to duel it out. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside our producer and co-commentator of the night and all season long, Morgan Cook. Morgan, we have seen a tightness that we haven't seen the other two series with the Xfinities and the Cup. These eliminations have brought us a tie to come in here tonight, and two of the drivers are on the same team.
Let's have a look at those point standings. Lucas Lyons, Barrett Morton, as you said, top of the sheet, all tied up. 4 wins apiece, same amount of points. This is going to be a wild ride to the finish of this championship, only a couple races away.
And of course, you've got Peyton Hubbard, who got 2 of his wins in the playoffs, only 6 points behind these guys. Very strong likelihood he could end up in the Final Four. But we got so many different talents to talk about. A driver could come in here and win and lock themselves in right now with Barrett Morton. You know, he's stayed at 4 wins since the playoffs have began. Kind of winless here since the reset, and Lucas Lyons takes the lead back over. He's done it once, but immediately gave it back to Morton. So that's another thing to think about is once Lyons gets up here at the top, it seems that the race doesn't go his way.
And he's going to have a good one here tonight in Iowa, or it is going to be a very difficult challenge to get past Barrett Morton with only 2 races left.
Watching some qualifying here around Iowa Speedway. Like I said, it's 7/8 of a mile, 0.85 for those of you that like decimal points, 1.37 kilometers. 14-degree banking in the turns, 10 degrees on the front stretch. The four-corner D Oval opened September 15th, 2006. And ever since then, it's kind of raced like a hybrid. It's not quite a 1.5-mile racetrack. It's somewhere in between that Nashville Super Speedway and that Richmond International. Just a weird place to come to. And if you're good at one or good at the other, you have to be good at both to get around this place.
My favorite thing about this Iowa Speedway, multi-groove, 5 usable grooves on this very small racetrack. You'll see them all the way up against the wall. You'll see them painting the yellow line in the corners. It puts on a great show every single time.
Race analysis up on your screen. 90 laps here today. Pit road speed limit 35 miles per hour with 3 tire sets that we've had all season long. The final race of the season will have 4, but 3 green, white checkers, and we'll have a stage at lap 30. Stage points another factor here, and if you're wanting to maintain the points lead, Lucas Lyons is going to have to get that stage victory, because if Barrett Morton's able to go up there and nab that, get the most laps led, it doesn't really matter if he leads the last lap or not. Lucas Lyons will not gain much of anything.
That's right. And a look ahead on the schedule. Iowa this week, Texas next, and then after that, the finale, Charlotte Motor Speedway, June 17th, for what will be the longest race of the year, both lap-wise and likely time-wise. Should be a good run out there in North Carolina.
So while we have a moment, we're going to bring up the tied leader for the points, the 9 of Barrett Morton, into the broadcast booth. He just got done with his qualifying effort, and I'm looking here at the grid. It looks like he's going to start deep in this field. Trying to get that information relayed to you. Yeah, 10th, so about mid-pack here, but... And now I've lost track of him. There he is. Barrett Morton, Bradley Cooper, and Morgan Cook up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Oh, Barrett, you just got tied in the points. I know that you're aware of that coming in. You're going to start a little bit behind mid-pack, back to 12th here. What's the confidence level coming into Iowa tonight?
I think it's going to be about saving tires, man, to be completely honest. I never practice qualifying laps like I should in practice, so I'm just looking for long run speed.
Well, long run speed is definitely the recipe here in the truck series. Seems like you guys have really cleaned things up. You've got 20 trucks, 21 trucks out here on the racetrack tonight. As we get set to grid, should we expect you up front at any point particular, or are you just going to wait, feel things out, and do what you always do when you win these races, wait till the last 10?
Yeah, I'm going to try to let the race come to me. I'm usually fairly confident here, but I don't know. I had some problems with my computer. I couldn't get a qualifying practice lap in, so I feel like I should have been up another 8 spots here. So I don't think this qualifying position will reflect our speed tonight.
Well, the confidence for me has changed a little bit. I was kind of worried, but now that you've talked about it and not quite having the practice, it'll come to you. I'm sure we get some green flag runs in here. You'll be able to figure this place out. Good luck tonight.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Driver the number 9, Barrett Morton. One more thing, though, I do want to bring up his teammate, because I got to do that. Just before we go green here, Lucas Lyons in the number 48 up into the broadcast booth. Lucas, real quick before we hit the grid, I got to ask you, man, you took over the points lead. You're going to be starting a little bit further ahead of your teammate, Barrett Morton, but not by much here. What's your attitude coming into tonight?
I was talking to my coworker at work today, and he goes, just go out there and win it. So that's definitely what I'm going to try to do. I feel like I have a good chance at it. I feel like I have a good short run truck, and hopefully I can keep a little bit underneath me and be there at the end.
The last time you took the points lead was about 3-4 races ago here, and you immediately had a bad night as soon as that happened. So what's the mindset there? Are we going to try to mitigate that damage tonight?
If you all can just keep saying good things about it, hopefully the broadcaster's curse won't make it where I have a bad night. So if you just keep saying good things, hopefully that's what's going to happen.
All right, I'll keep it as positive as I can here today. Lucas Lyons, good luck out there, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, now we're trackside. Let's get your grid up on the screen. Wes Wiggins going to start on the pole with a 22.903. He's next to Adam Lancaster in the number 17. Lucas Lyons starting in third. Just talked to him with John Kender in fourth. Row number 3 belongs to Ronnie Shirk Jr. with Christopher McCullough in sixth. Seventh spot, Daniel Worthington with Bobby Hall Jr., Sean Kaser, Michael Robinson round out the top 10. Pace truck pulling off. We've got Chad Ross, Barrett Morton, Alex Healy, Zane Zadie, Kenneth McCullough. They're going to give us another lap. Thank goodness. Lights were out on the pace car. I was moving through that one quick, Morgan.
Yeah, Michael Cole's going to roll off 16th here tonight. We had the afterburners turned on. 17th, Peyton Hubbard in the 51. 18th will be James Kaufman in the 25. 19th, Eric Parks, that wood grain 73, alongside Dustin Reinstedel starting 20th.
For the fastest grid in V-Speed history, Jeremiah Hobbs will be the last truck on the racetrack here tonight, starting in 21st position. Pace truck will pull off this time, and for playoff race number 8 on the season, it's the elimination to bring us to 4 drivers left. The final 8 up here in the brackets, and a lot of those red spoilers are outside of the top 5 here tonight. Pace truck left-hand turn for the first time today. The short track hybrid at Iowa. Here from Newton for playoff race number 8. Green flag is out and we're underway. Coming by to lead lap number 1, it is your pole sitter holding on to it. Wes Wigan in the 88. He's going to stay on point, pulls out ahead, but Lucas Lyons up 1 position already. A lot of side-by-side back here. 3 wide coming off of turn 2.
A lot of playoff drivers involved in this gaggle here. See the 9, the 03, that's Healy's in there as well. So is Peyton Hubbard. Just trying to find their way through this multi-groove racetrack, only on lap number 2.
That's Road America driver Zane Zadie, Remember, he should have won that race, dominated the entirety of that, and then had a pass-through penalty, had to come back down pit road, or came back down pit road for fuel. I'm not exactly sure. Can't remember what exactly happened, but the 77 ended up losing that race.
They didn't put fuel in the car at Coda on the last stop, and he was 2 laps short, had to come back down and get fuel to make it to the end of that race, cost himself a win. I think Peyton Hubbard was able to pick up that one.
Oh, yeah, so it was Circuit of the Americas, not Road America. I always confuse those two names, but yeah, Zane Zadie's going to fall back. Position to Barrett Morton, but he's still in 13th here. We talked to Barrett Morton there pre-race just for a moment. He said, this is not reflective of our speed. He's already shown it here on the outside. He's going to make another pass for 11. Off of turn 2 to the outside, has a good run. That's Michael Robinson in the 4 truck on the inside. Then just ahead of him, Sean Kaser and Alex Healy go back and forth. Healy was on the outside into turn 1. He peaked to the low side in 3 and 4. He cannot figure out a way around. He actually checks up Barrett Morton on the run out of 4, so he's not going to clear Michael Robinson. They're going to stay side by side for another lap, and this is the turbulence that you'd have to deal with, Morgan, when you start deep in the field.
No turbulence up here for these front two as they're driving away from Adam Lancaster in the 17 and battling for the point. Lucas Lyons really wants to lead and get that 1 point, which will help his playoffs tremendously against the aforementioned Barrett Morton.
Hard to keep it down there on the inside of turns 1 and 2. Scrubs some of the speed off, trying to keep it off of the left door of West Wigan. And Wigan going to lead another lap this time by. It's far difficult to get to the inside of a guy and get him cleared. And you can see that as the top 7 or 8 trucks have pretty much single filed out. It's still a cluster though. From the 94 on back, these guys are pretty much right on top of each other. We do have a little bit of passing going on. I thought for a moment there that was the 48 again of Lucas Lyons, but he did not get the run I suspected he was going to get. He's still trying that inside line. Get back here with, I believe that's Michael Cole and the 10 of Jeremiah Hobbs. Hobbs has already moved up 4 positions after starting in the last spot. Now, as I say, they loses 2 of them, makes a little mistake there. But he's going to get the drive off over Eric Parks. He's going to get around for 16th spot, now up 5.
Parks running way low on the front stretch. Not sure what's going on with the 73. He's running that alternate Richmond line, the one that drivers swear saves tires, but probably doesn't. He's losing a handful of spots here. Right back to where he started in at 19th position.
Yeah, there's something going on with the 73 of Parks. Very off the pace here. He's lost all the positions that he had gained. He was up to about 15th, now back to 19th, and whatever the case may be here with Parks, he's off the pace.
The Lancaster's caught up to our top 2. Making a 3-way battle for the lead as Lyons is still trying to get around Wigan. He might put the bumper to him if Wigan's not careful.
Well, he's definitely putting the pressure to him. Wigan's making a lot of mistakes off the exits. You saw that little bobble there where he got loose. He is able to play defense here on this outside, but that's the side effect of running the high line. You get very loose. The back end will kick out on you repeatedly, and eventually that right rear tire is going to go away.
We saw a lot of drivers spin in practice off of turn 4 especially. Very easy to do here at Iowa. The banking falls away. Obviously highest banking up at the top of the racetrack. It falls away rather quickly as you crest the hill. Very easy to spin.
And a drop down to the inside again. Lyons actually moves up to the middle line. He's trying to keep some clean air out of turn 4. The 7 truck now peaks to the inside. Lancaster's going to look for second position. Last time by, the 17 or 7 on your screen was the fastest truck on the racetrack.
Little by little, he has caught up to this top 2, and he's working hard on Lucas Lyons, but it's brought the entire rest of the top 6, 7 trucks all in the frame. All want a piece of this action. A lot of red spoilers.
That lap time implodes for Adam Lancaster. Now it's Christopher McCullough who's a little bit faster. John Kinder a little bit faster. These guys that are still running single file, Bobby Hall, they're all in the 23.8s, whereas the leaders are running 24s almost. A little bit slower here for Wiegand, but now that he doesn't have Lyons peeking to the inside repeatedly, that's kind of helped him settle out. 94, Bobby Hall on the outside, almost 3 wide there for a moment. He's going to pick up a position up to 4th now.
Yeah, he's really ripping the high line all the way up against the wall. It's easy to do in 3 and 4, a lot of speed up there. Very difficult in 1 and 2, and you're about to see why. Huge bump. Just watch the wheel as you go through top side of 1 and 2.
Yeah, you get too high and he actually cuts it just short of that bump. If you're in that 3rd lane where you would be normally in 3 and 4, you'll feel that bump. It'll shoot the truck up the racetrack. You'll almost end up in the 4th line. If you're not prepared for it, you could hit the wall. And so Bobby Hall actually trying different lines altogether. That time through 3 and 4, I think he's got these 2 guys in front of him. He can't quite decide who he wants to go with. This time around, though, he is in that bump. You saw that truck bounce. He's still going to get a run on the back of Lucas Lyons to the inside. Thought they were going to go 3 wide. They might try it behind him.
He thought better of it. I think that was the right decision. I don't think Lucas was going to concede that spot on the exit of turn 2. Live to fight another day.
And if we look off the back of Wes Wiegand, he loves what he's seeing back there. Truck in the wall, that's the 94. They are 3 wide now through 1 and 2. Off of the corner, McCullough in the middle. They're going to make it through. Nicely done. That's John Kinder on the inside. He's trying to get a 2-for-1 special on the back bumper of Lancaster. Now a run on the outside for the 0-4, and that's where the momentum breaks. He had a good run. He immediately loses it because he's pinned down to the inside.
Lyons got moved by the 94
Yeah,
a little bit into turn number 1. Great save by the 48, but that could have been a disaster for this entire top 7. We keep it pointed the right direction, but I can't imagine it's helping Lucas Lyons or his tires or his attitude at this moment.
We've kept it clean and green now for 21 laps. Well, to start 21 laps, 20 laps completed. Wes Wiegand has led all 20, and from 2nd place back to 7th. Trucks are all within a 1/10 of each other. How would you like to be in this cluster, Morgan? After about 7 or 8 laps, you know it's burning the tires off of this thing, but you just can't get clear of these guys.
This is what iRacing was made for, was scrapping and clawing, fighting against a bunch of people on a multi-groove racetrack where everyone's about even. This is,
look at the dive.
This is what it's made of right here. Slide job, 94. Not quite going to clear Lucas.
That was a heck of a dive and an attempt, though, for 2nd position. Now he has the aftermath of losing a lot of ground on the exit. Sometimes you can get that bumper cleared and get up in front of a guy, hold him up just enough. Christopher McCullough peeked to the inside, faked low on the 48. Now goes up the high line. The 7 not going to work. 3 wide behind these guys.
Here comes
He tried with Bobby Hall.
It's 2-for-1 special.
Catching up.
That's a 2-for-1 off of turn 4. Caught the rough momentum of the 82 and the 17. And why by he goes.
This entire pack is catching back up to these leaders because of this racing going on for 2nd. I mean, these guys are holding themselves up and kind of flip-flopping the 2nd half of the field. They've decided not to race like this, and they're saving their tires. They're about a 1/10 or so faster than some of these cars up front.
Lyons is tight. He just lost 3 spots through turn 4 that last time. Bobby Hall Jr. got in the outside wall. There's too much to cover here up at the front of the field. No one's car is driving very well, and Wes Wiegand is slowly creeping away from this little pack here.
You see back here, Barrett Morton has not been able to escape the starting position he had here today. He's only in 12th spot. He had gained a couple positions, but now he's feeling the side effects of tire wear and running that bottom line. It has not worked out for him so far. He has tried to clear the 113 for about 5 laps now, and now he's going to lose another position to the 77, Zane's 80.
Other driver who's surprisingly not up in the top 10 here is Peyton Hubbard in the 51. You see him in the middle of the screen right there. I believe he won at Richmond, in fact, dominated that race. He may have not won it, but he definitely ran very well at Richmond. Now that I think back, I think it was actually Andy Kurtz that won that race. But regardless, that 51's been very good on short tracks this year, and he's currently only running in the 13th position.
And here's another thing to factor in. You see all the red spoilers on your screen. These are drivers that are leading the top 3 spots. The only one of those 3 being the 48, and he has fallen back to 7th. So our points leaders are having a tough time, and there's enough trucks out here that, you know, that guy sitting back and forth has a good shot to make up a good amount of this deficit. Talking about Christopher McCullough, he's currently running in 2nd position.
Let's have a look at those point standings. There they are right there.
I mean, right there, you can see 11 back. That's not much to make up, and with 20-plus trucks, if you have Barrett Morton, Peyton Hubbard stuck back here 12th and 13th, and you're able to get this stage win as we go across the line for that right now. Top 10 up on your screen, locked in. Wes Wigan's going to get stage number 1. He led all 30 laps to complete that. Christopher McCullough gets 2nd place points. Ronnie Shirk, Bobby Hall, John Kender. So a handful of these guys were not playoff contenders, but they're going to rob away some spots from some of these drivers that were.
Yeah, only 3 playoff drivers getting stage points that time. McCullough, 4, how about McCullough, Paul Jr., Lyons, and Healy. No one else was able to get stage points in the championship hunt right now.
So that'll bring us to the 2nd stage of this race, the bottom 2/3 of it. And I guarantee you're about to see pit road be a very busy place. Speaking of pit road, we're going to have an in-race pit reporter here next, 2 weeks from this week. Morgan Cook is going to be at the real Iowa Speedway. Morgan, I hope you're excited for that, man. I'd love to go.
I am. I'm very excited to be the first time I've been to Iowa, the state, and the racetrack. NASCAR's first trip there for the Cup Series. Should be a great time. Looking forward to it. And you see the V-Speed shirt, make sure to come on and say hi. I'll be around the grandstand area checking out the Cup and Xfinity race there in a couple weeks' time.
Oh, we just saw a missed pit stop here. The 7 of Shirk Jr. missed his stall. And instead of backing up, he still had it in 1st gear and pulled it forward even further, so he loses a ton of time. Looks like the 404 almost wins the battle off pit road, but Wes Wigan just barely by probably a 1/10 of a second, not even a 1/10 of a second, a 100th of a second, is able to win this race and maintain the lead.
Yeah, close battle there. That's what the first pit stop will get you. That's why you want to get the pole. Start first in these races, get the first pit box, and it will make your life easier without a doubt.
So while we have the opportunity, let's bring up Flex Motorsports driver and stage winner Wes Wigan up in the booth. Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, you got a copy?
Got you, fellas.
Wes, you were able to put it all together here. You led all 30 laps. You're still out there in the front. Thing looks bad fast today. Is this your track? Is this your favorite location to come race?
I can say without a doubt this is not my favorite, so I don't know what's going on here. I'm just enjoying the ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, looking pretty stout out there, and it's been a minute since we saw the 88 have such a dominant start to a race. I know that, you know, things started out for you good in the beginning of the season, but then things that you got caught up in by just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Here tonight, you've been able to avoid a lot of that racing going on behind you.
Yep, just, you know, put the pedal down and let it sail.
Good defense on the outside. The 88 looks really good as we get set to double back up here. Good luck, buddy.
Big loser from this pit sequence, Lucas Lyons. Must have been
Lucas
speeding.
Lyons was sitting around what, 7th, 8th position when we hit that stage break. Now back to 17th now, loses 10 positions. He's down 14 overall. And there it is again for Christopher McCullough. He would love for that to stay the same for the rest of this race.
Yeah, another driver that he's well ahead of in the points, and McCullough already got those 9 stage points. That pretty much closes the gap to the top 2. This could be a championship defining race for anyone in this field. We are that close to the finale. What do you think, Bradley?
I think right here we're going to go back green for the second time today, and we're going to find out with only 2 races left to eliminate 2.5 if you want to be fair. Green flag is out. Wes Wiegand on the loud pedal into turn 1.
I don't know if there's a restart rule in OiL, but they might want to look at that one if there is. That looked like a pretty early lane change for most of this field. Interesting stuff.
I know
there.
they've been lenient. They've been lenient with the lane changing so long as it doesn't impede other drivers from being able to get a run. So I don't know if that one's set in stone or not. We do cover a lot of leagues that have that rule for a reason, and it's to mitigate drivers trying to jump the start and go 3 wide before turn 1, because, well, especially at this place, anytime you go 3 wide, as we almost saw it there with the 4 Michael Robinson, Sean Kaser to the inside of the 77, side by side from 5th place on back. How about Zane Zadie up to 6th now, and he's working on the 82 of John Kinder. Looks like he has broke away from this side by side, and this is the trap that a lot of these drivers have fallen in. Very early in the last run, they used up their tires because they were trying to get by a guy. Just one truck was the Achilles heel for a lot of these drivers in the top 10. You can see the top 5 have figured that out, and they've stayed single file since we went back green.
You can see there is your leader, Wes Wiegand, and a bunch of single file trucks behind him. Bobby Hall trying to make that statement untrue. Unable to get alongside Lancaster, but look farther back. Everyone's pretty much single filed out, except for Barrett Morton running the bottom.
And Morton is back to working on the 113 of Daniel Worthington, still outside the top 10. Morton, one of the few trucks in this field that hasn't changed position. The only other driver that hasn't done that, Wes Wiegand. He's going to lead another time by 40 laps. He's going to probably nab most laps led. So now it's just a matter of somebody getting 1 bonus point, because the likelihood of you getting the most led is pretty slim right now.
Well, you've only got 5 more laps to get the lead from him before he clinches it mathematically. He's going to lead 1 more here. The 04, though, not going to let him get too far out in front. The gap is 0.2 of a second.
0.2, but you do see that 04 running a much lower line, and the clean air has been super beneficial for the 88, but the 04 of McCullough is loving the points day that he has had so far. 2nd place in stage 1, and he's going to continue to hang with the leader. That's really all you have to do at this point. You can let Wes Wiegand lead every single lap with the last one. That's really what he needs to do now for the 04, is just go up there and win the race. That would be a complete capitalization on the day that Barrett Morton, Lucas Lyons, and Peyton Hubbard are having right now.
Yeah, points are good, but wins are better. I think everyone would agree. I think that would lock you into the finale, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on the playoff rules here in OiL in the Truck Series.
I would.
A win would be helpful for a couple of reasons.
Yeah, the win would lock him in, and the situation here for Adam Lancaster and Bobby Hall, these guys falling back a little bit here. About a 0.5 a lap. A little bit of a bad exit there for the 88. Christopher McCullough got a great run out of turn 4, but looks like he backs up his entry to turn 1. Is he planning maybe to try it again here in 3 and 4? He will. He'll peek to the inside again. This is the same trap that Lucas Lyons fell under just a moment ago, where he got pinned on the inside and couldn't get clear of Wes.
I think the only way to get around that 88 is to drive it into the corner as hard as you can. Hope you clear the nose and hope you don't hit the wall on the exit. I think that's all you can do to get around the 88 without touching him if he's going to run that defensive top line.
Yeah, he's doing a great job playing defense. He might not be the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. That honor is going to go to Bobby Hall Jr. But on the flip side of things, he doesn't have to be the fastest truck, because once somebody gets beside him on that inside, they lose probably 2 or 3 tenths, and he sets them right back to where they were. Lancaster starting to catch up. We're starting to see the repeat. This is about how many laps it took before we saw the top 5 jumble back up. And Zane Zadie in 6th spot. He is about 2 seconds away from the lead, about a second back from John Kinder in 5th. but you'll probably see a couple of those trucks back there from 6th on back work their way close to the top 5. Just can't get around him. I mean, it's got to be frustrating. This is the track that you can run multiple grooves, but we're only talking about a tenth that he needs here to get to the inside and get clear, and he can't get it.
You know what track that reminds me of? Richmond.
Kansas? Oh, Richmond.
What you said in the intro, that is what this track was modeled after. One of them, just really hard to pass. They called that one Racing Perfection. This one is a I don't know, drivers love it, but it's a nightmare to pass on because it's so competitive everywhere.
When you see Adam Lancaster now back into the hunt for the lead, Bobby Hall Jr. last time by, matching the lap times of the 17, and these two a little bit quicker than the rest of the field. You had John Kinder and Zane Zadie, a full 2 tenths, so they will be here in a couple laps if they can keep up that pace.
We're slicing and dicing. That's a battle for second. Lancaster going to the bottom. See if you can clear into turn number 1. Big drive into the corner.
Oh, and this breaks up the momentum for the 04 McCullough. He's going to have to start racing side by side. Remember last time, boys, this is when the 88 drove into the sunset. He checked out by a half a second very quickly because these drivers for one position started to race side by side, and the 88 just looked the other way. He's got his own line to worry about. I don't know how much he looks up in his mirror, but he has to be grinning from ear to ear if these guys start doing that again.
But the only driver who wants to go side by side is John Kinder back in 5th. Trying for the low line on Bobby Hall Jr. Not quite going to work. Can't get to the quarter panel. Single file again for the top 5.
Very high line there for the 94. We saw that in the last run as well, where he's going way up near the wall in 3 and 4. Not quite as high in 1 and 2 as he was last time. Another big run here for the 04 McCullough. I think the only way you get around this 88 truck is maybe a little bumper love. I don't think that we're going to be able to get clear, and I don't think he's going to get to the outside, so you might have to move him out of the way.
You either have to take your medicine and run that very high top lane in turn 1. Try and go through the bump and get some momentum off of 2. Or you, like you said, you move him out of the way. I think the 24 had an issue. He's off the racing surface.
Yes, John Kaser officially disconnects from the session.
He will join Eric Parks behind the wall. Not sure what happened to the 113 as well. He's on pit roads. Heavy damage to that truck. Currently scored in the 20th position.
It was about 60 seconds ago, Morgan, if you can rewind on him, that he had a problem just before pit stops here. He had some damage on him. Not entirely sure. So I think that damage has really been on that truck.
This might be a strategy play for the 113.
And that was another thing that we haven't talked about just yet, Morgan. How difficult the pit road is here to get onto. It's almost a 90-degree turn because of the jettison of the wall and that access gate just to get into the entrance of pit road. There's another truck down. That's Alex Healy in the 97. But, yeah, if we can get a chance at some point here to ride on board with somebody, when you come into pit road, it's almost like a blind turn over a hill. You don't see the entrance to pit road until you're right up on it. It's very easy to overshoot.
While we were having a look at the 113, something happened to Bobby Hall Jr. He's fallen back to the 7th spot, and Peyton Hubbard has rose very quickly. He is up to 8th. Biggest mover of the race, up 10 spots along with Jeremiah Hobbs.
How about that for the 51? That's what he needs to do right now. Somebody must have got on the radio and told him Christopher McCullough is gaining on you this week. You need to get at least 5 spots here. He went out and got 10 of them. There's the 97 coming back down pit road, so maybe a speeding penalty for Alex Healy on the entrance. This will definitely not help Healy at all for his playoff run. He's got one more week to make up for this. And I think the only way really is you see the lingerie dressed pit crew. Ode to everybody that has those pit crews on their training paints. But again, I am very impressed. We have not seen a performance like this out of Wes Wiegand, I think, all season long. This is just dominant, what he's doing right now. He's led 2/3 of the race now as he comes across the stripe. He has the lead in hand. He's running the preferred line. He's defended really well, and nobody in this top 5 has shown that they can get around him.
Well, you had mentioned how we couldn't pass him. You're going to have to put the bumper to him. You're going to have to do a slide job or run the top side, take your medicine. One thing you could also do, hit a lap earlier. Pace right now, 1.6 seconds slower than everyone's fast lap in this race. Wes Wiegand specifically 1.6 seconds slower. Hitting a lap earlier, especially for the 04, that's an easy gapping of the 88.
Now it's just a matter of how does Wiegand get on and off of pit road. That's the next portion of this race, the money stop, if you will. He's going to have to be perfect in, perfect out. He cannot afford a mistake on that. That would definitely give up the lead. Christopher McCullough is going to try again to the inside. This time he's going to hang on the door. He will be side by side. He does get clear. Wow, that was close there. Maybe backed up the corner a little bit with the 82 going to be on the outside. He thought better of it. There it is again. Wow. Up on the outside for Kinder. Good run down the backstretch. They're going to try it again. 2x2. And the 04 McCullough, he might call this 88 to come down pit road. Good defense again for another lap led. The 04 just can't get it. He needs one for a bonus point, Morgan. He's working hard.
Zadie, Hubbard, Lancaster, Morton of all pit. Since this battle has been brewing, we saw Kinder up on the outside. Well, he might bring it down pit road this time by. Things are changing. Shots being fired farther back in the field. Going to try and leapfrog these drivers. Remember, every lap is about 1.5 seconds. These drivers
So this
pit.
would be 5 laps past the halfway split of the second stage. And the 88, I believe, is calling out his number. He dives down to the bottom of the racetrack in front of the 04. Yes, he is going to come to pit road.
See if he can make it on pit road cleanly like you were talking about. Slow entry. Oh, there goes the 82 around.
Good job to not run into the back of him, but that was a very wide and slow entry for Wes Wiegand, and that probably is going to give up the lead. That's a little bit too cautious here on pit road. I know it's tough to get in there, but you got to be a little bit quicker than that to get in. Wiegand's probably going to end up in 3rd position after all that. Christopher McCullough out there by his lonesome. Bobby Hall in 2nd. 3.5 seconds back. Christopher McCullough probably took note of that. He's just got to execute a perfect pit stop entry here and no speeding, and he could definitely have this lead coming back out.
I don't know. We stayed out an awful long time. Jeremiah Hobbs hitting pit road right now. Maybe not. Maybe just getting past here. Thought he was going to bring it on down.
Now, he's going to have to come down here soon. Morgan, we just talked about how you could undercut a guy and make up a lot of time. For every lap that the 04 stays out, that's another lap that Wiegand's going to make up that ground. So, excuse me, Wiegand actually had problems on pit road. He's back to 16th after all this cycled out. So a lot of these drivers that short pit and that slow entry, that puts your race leader coming into pit road all the way back out of the top 10. Yes, he's going to be faster, but he's got a lot of trucks to pass.
Yeah, Zane Zadie, for reference, is in the middle of turn 1 and 2 right now. That's how far behind Wes Wiegand is compared to the driver he pit on the same lap as. Zane Zadie currently leading the group of drivers who pit first. Barrett Morton right behind him. They are 12th and 13th right now. Lancaster not too far behind them in 14th. Then it's Wiegand, who only took 2 tires as well for the 88, back in 16th spot.
That is an interesting call. So only 2 tires, and he still lost that much time to the rest of this field. That in itself means practicing the entry to pit road is oh so important. On a racetrack that you can't pass on, you have to execute in the pits because that's where guys are going to get around you.
Well, just under 20 laps to go here. Leader, I think, is coming down this time. 4.5-second lead over Lucas Lyons. See the 04 make that hard left-hand turn. I think we will. Much faster entry than the 88.
So what's his call, though? Does he take 2 tires? And we've saw that in the other series where drivers took 2 and it paid off. Is that the call here, Morgan?
I think you have to. The driver we're watching right now is Zane Zadie, right here. This is going to be the driver that inherits the lead, assuming everybody pits. McCullough is still on pit road. Zane Zadie is going to pass him right here, I believe.
Down and away for the 04, but yeah, Zadie is going to get very much clear. Lucas Lyons still out there on the racetrack. Now here's the other factor. Can these guys save enough? I don't think they can, but you do hear on board a lot of clutching going on here for the 48 truck.
If we remember back to the original Rebels Racing League a few weeks ago, Lucas Lyons did exactly this. Saved enough fuel to run out of turn 4 and win at Homestead. Although he's got a mirror full of Bobby Hall Jr. There's that bright green car.
And here comes the 88 of West Wigan to unlap himself. He'll get right up on the bumper, go to the inside. But if the 48 can make it, Bobby Hall's still in the same boat as well. He's got to be clutching it around this place as well. He is. And so these guys probably shutting the trucks off to save as much as they can. 04 of Christopher McCullough gets around the 94. These 2 trucks, the 88 and the 04, after they all cycled out, at least the 88 was able to stay ahead of him. But Zane Zadie, I don't know what he did differently than these guys, other than it was 37 in pit lane, 37 seconds compared to West Wigan, who had, mathematically, I can't understand this because my timing and scoring says 36.4 for McCullough. It has to be because he pit a little bit sooner and got that advantage on the tires.
Well, the gap over McCullough is because of the 8 laps difference, like you had mentioned. That's 1.5 seconds times 8 laps. That's a lot of seconds.
But with Wigan, I'm still trying to figure it out. How did that gap happen? I mean, he was on and off pit road faster overall in time, and it's still, we're talking about 9 seconds in the box, 35.9. He's almost a full second, or over a full second faster than Zadie down the lane. Was it just that entry speed that killed it for the 88?
Could have been entry speed, could have also been missing the box. I don't know where that gets registered. If you slide through your pit box, if that counts as box time or if it counts as pit road time or doesn't count as either, but he just got passed. West Wigan did by the 04, who's got the fresh tires. So Wigan, I think, is just in hang-on mode and hope all these drivers pit so we can salvage a top 5 out of this.
The back up front to talk about the 48 of Lucas Lyons on the clutch pedal. He'll have 10 laps to go very soon here for the 48 team. He is committed to saving fuel. The 94 of Bobby Hall has slowly crept his way closer and closer. But if either one of these drivers get to racing each other, I think they run themselves out of fuel. The battle for the lead here is under half a second now as they go through 1 and 2.
And don't look now, Michael Robinson. That yellow car not terribly far behind. Neither is Kaufman. All these drivers very close. And Hobbs is right there too. This is going to get interesting for sure.
And this is all a bunch of drivers. It's Chad Ross there in the 38, but this is all guys that didn't really show anything at the first stage of this race. They were, mid-pack for the most. Oh, into the wall for the 48.
And the 4.
That's going to open up the door. Now Bobby Hall is right there, and Lucas Lyons might have to stop saving a little bit here.
I think you still have to keep an eye on that fuel gauge. I wouldn't worry about the 94. If he's in the same boat as you are and they did pit on the same lap, you got to let him go. Hope he runs out.
He's not going to. He's holding him down there, pinches him through 1 and 2, tries to hold the lead. They're going to stay side by side through turns 3 and 4, almost up into the wall again for Lucas Lyons. This is allowing Michael Robinson to creep closer as these guys race side by side a little bit longer. Peyton Hubbard trying to unlap himself. He's back in 18th position.
Bonus point for
Got
Hall as well
clear.
that time.
Bobby Hall is going to take over the point. This is our third lead change of the day. Fourth, actually. Into the wall again for Lions. He might lose another spot. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm just coming off of a 600-mile race where I had to talk for 4.5 hours, and it hasn't quite recovered yet. So if at any point I sound like I'm 13 years old again, I apologize for that. Here comes Michael Robinson to the inside.
I think Robinson's got something for them. They all pitted on the same lap. It's going to come down to who saves fuel the best. Hall, Robinson, Lions. That is your battle for the lead. James Kaufman is two laps better than these drivers on fuel. If they can't make it, he surely can.
Well, right now it's a story of the red spoilers. One of them is leading this race. But earlier in the day, and for most of this event, it was a driver that was not in the final 8. And it could be a driver that hasn't won yet this season. The 4 of Michael Robinson, creeping closer and closer to the 94 of Bobby Hall. Could be a podium day here for the 4 truck, but he wants to get the win. The Valvoline number 4 hasn't had a win yet this season. Michael Robinson chases down another 1/10 of a second that time by. 4 laps to go. 3 when they cross the stripe. He's shaving down some more time. It's under 2/10 of a second, and Bobby Hall way up the racetrack here through 3 and 4.
And we're done clutching. We're done saving. It's go for broke time and hope you can make it to the checkered flag.
James Kaufman gets around Lucas Lyons to put him down another spot. The 38 of Chad Ross could be another position loss for the 48. That time around, Hall was only 0.07 of a second slower, but the 4 truck is still trying to make that approach. I think Bobby Hall turned that alternate fuel tank back on here. He's finding whatever he can. 2 laps to go now.
Lions back to 5th. Ross was able to get around him. There's the battle for the 5th spot as they're both still saving fuel. Don't know if they can make it to the end quite yet. A little under a mile left to go.
White flag up in the air for the 94 of Bobby Hall. He saved a little bit there coming out of turn 4. He might be right on the line here to make it to the end of this race. High line approach here for the 4 of Michael Robinson. Doesn't have enough right now, but if the 94 has to save again, a dive into 3 and 4. Bobby Hall on the outside. Is he out of fuel?
He's out of gas!
And Michael Robinson is going to get the victory at Iowa out of turn 4. Unbelievable.
That's about as close as those wins come. I don't think anyone had that on the bingo card today. Drag race to the line, running out of fuel. Truck sputtered, and Bobby Hall Jr. just lost his ticket to the Final Four.
That is just unbelievable that Bobby Hall ran out of fuel. He even sputtered coming off the corner to try to surge back one more time. But Michael Robinson, with his first victory of the season in a race that went green to its entirety without the stage break, had the strategy thought out, executed it perfectly, and saved just enough fuel to get the victory here today. The fuel mileage race and the Valvoline 4 is going to be talked about for a long time here. Post-race interviews with your top 3, and this will be, I believe, our second opportunity as he makes sure that there's no fuel left in that tank, knocks it right out. But we're going to talk to your top 3 and the second time this season. But Michael Robinson is going to be up here in the booth momentarily. Final results going to come up right after this. You're watching the Overtake iRacing League Truck Series live on V-Speed.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Marty's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The road is turned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
We're back at Iowa Speedway in an unbelievable turn of events for this race. 4 lead changes, and the most important one, it happened in the last 1,000 feet of this racing surface. Coming out of turn 4, Michael Robinson passes Bobby Hall Jr. as he runs out of fuel coming off of the final corner. These drivers had used the fuel from stage 1 after lap 30. They ran a full 58 lap stint here. And that's just unbelievable in its own right. But then combine the fact that every driver except Lucas Lyons that finished in the top 5 was a well, actually, I take that back. Bobby Hall. He got the best points today for all of the red spoilers out there. And he was able to lead a lap, which, minus the 0-4 who ends up 12. A lot of these guys that are up here in the top 5 in points did not have a good day. Final results on your screen with James Kaufman getting 3rd. Great finishes for these guys. They have not had this kind of a performance in a long time. Lucas Lyons, Chad Ross actually in 4th spot. Lucas Lyons just behind him. Jeremiah Hobbs in 6th. 7th goes to Kenneth McCullough Jr. Michael Cole with 8th. And Dustin Reinstedel, Alex Healy. And I'd have to go back and figure this out, Morgan, because he came down pit road again, I believe, and somehow still ends up with a 10th place finish.
Zane Zadie able to finish in 11th tonight. McCullough in the 04. We talked about him having a great night. Hounded Wes Wiegand for 2nd most of this race. He will finish in 12th. Lancaster ran well for most of the night. He also pitted in the same group as all these drivers. He finished 13th. Morton pitted. He finished 14th. Not a great night for your points leader. Wes Wiegand led over 2/3 of this race. 15th is all he's going to get to show for it. Kinder ran well. He finished 16th. Shirk, Hubbard, Worthington, and Kaiser round out your top 20.
An important note there with Hubbard. He was up towards the top 10, felt like a rock. Same with Zane Zadie. A couple of these drivers that looked like they were going to end up with good finishes fell out of that top 10 spot towards the end of this race. Finally, rounding out your field, it was an early end to the day, 59 laps down. Eric Parks in the 73. So Sean Kaser and the 73 of Eric Parks both out and done for the race. Excuse me, there's the voice crack again, but let's get your top 3 down here. First driver up in the booth is the 25 of James Kaufman. Morgan Cook is down there on pit road with him.
Just get the camera on that 25 machine. Kaufman, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So obviously you didn't pit there that last stint, that entire second stage. You stayed out. This 25, we never really saw you up in the top 12 or so. What was the decision making behind staying out, not pitting with the other half of the field?
Just take advantage of being slow and not using as much fuel.
Well, clearly it worked out for you.
So I decided just to go run easy, and then I did a little clutching and just wanted to make sure I got there. Once I got to where I was about a lap and a half to the good, I said, well, we'll just hold it here and see what happens.
So you started closing in on Lucas Lyons and Bobby Hall Jr. with about 15, 20 to go in this race. Talk to me about the kind of the mental struggle, saving fuel versus trying to catch up in case one of those guys runs out? How do you balance that and bring it home in the top three?
Just try to stay smooth and don't screw up in the corners. Try to scrub any speed. Not try not to waste anything, and just you know get on it some, but still have the discipline to go ahead and let off a little early and let it coast through the corner, and just watch the interval on them and see that you're picking up a little bit. And going, don't try to get too much all at once, because you burn something up. It's got to have something left when you do get there. So it worked. That was surprising. I was hoping them two guys would get into each other coming off a four on the last lap.
Well, they did. Let me tell you, they
Yeah.
got into each other for sure.
They just waited a little too long.
They sure did. For your sake, of course. I think this is the first time we've talked to you this season, so good to have you up here.
Yeah.
Here at the end of the season. Who do you want to thank or shout out for this podium finish here at Iowa?
Pretty much. I mean, our team three, Chad Ross and Eric Parks and Paige. I mean, we've all kind of they've helped me a lot, and Chad he doesn't dictate a strategy, but he puts up some good ideas on what to do. And we all we go our own way, but we do it together. So that works pretty good, and I really appreciate you guys putting on the league, and that's fun. I mean, I always look forward to Mondays. You guys put on a hell of a broadcast, so.
We also look forward to Mondays, watching the OiL trucks here rip around places like Iowa and all the other tracks we've been to this season. This race number, 20 of the season? And put on
Yes.
great shows pretty
Yep.
much every time out. That is your third place finisher, James Kaufman.
And so that brings us to our next finisher in second spot, Bobby Hall Jr. in the number 94 machine. He ran out of fuel out of turn 4. Bobby, I know that you got to race in there with Lucas, and I kind of want to go back and talk about that. Do you feel like that was the moment right there that maybe you just put yourself in the hole for a couple extra feet there?
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that he was actually the leader, because Wes and Dan and Alex, they were talking about strategy, and Dan never got a full tank of gas, so he pitted early, and I'm like, well, maybe people are gonna pit with him, and then Wes and the McCullough, let's see, Chris, they were battling pretty hard, and I'm like, man, I was like, there's no way they're gonna make it, so I decided to put in fuel save mode and try this whole fuel strategy. And then once I seen Lucas was ahead of me, and I'm like, shoot. So I tried to stay his pace, and I was flirting with running out one lap good, one lap short, and I'm like, if I can pass him, then I can set the pace, and then he's got to get by me. And I fell short.
Yeah, and you had Michael Robinson starting to gain on you as well. Did that kind of change the strategy at that point when you were already in fuel conservation mode and you said you were flirting back and forth, but did you start to push it again there with about 4 to go when you saw Michael Robinson had caught up to you about 2 or 3 tenths?
Yeah, I could see that little yellow nose getting closer, and I'm like, well, if I don't coast the corner and just not shut the engine off and try to carry a little bit of momentum, I can keep the gap. But then he started running the high line, then low line, and then he caught me. And I think if I would have went low in 3 and 4, I think we would have held him off. I mean, I can't answer that question. I don't know.
The what ifs game. Yeah, I always love to play that as well, and I'm sure that it'll probably hang with you for at least the next 24 hours as a race car driver. You gotta have that, but reflectively, you still pull off a podium finish. You're the best finisher of a red spoiler truck out here on the field today, and that means a lot coming from the fact that your top 3 in points did not have the day that they needed to have. The top driver coming into tonight finishes 5th, and then you have Barrett Morton and Peyton Hubbard down there out of the top 10. So tonight you really did what you needed to do to make up some of these gaps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, unfortunate that Mr. Cunningham could not be here tonight because he was having some family issues. So shout out goes out to him. Hopefully everything's all right. And yeah, it's definitely gonna be waiting on Cody to do points and see where we stack, if we're safe or we got to fight next week.
Well, it's always a fight here. Bobby Hall Jr. second place at Iowa, the 7/8 of a mile. He needed just one more eighth of fuel, and I think he would have came out victorious. But anybody you'd like to shout out today?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Team Flex, we're always trying to bounce ideas off each other, some good, some bad. But hey, that's what makes a team, trial and error. Of course, V Speed, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Cook, and the broadcast. Hopefully, I get to hear my name a little bit. The guys that race and put on the show, week in, week out, looking for season 2. And the competitors, hell of a race on the next week.
Well, it's a very successful inaugural season, and it's just tightened up, got even more interesting after tonight. Congratulations on your second place there, Bobby.
Thank you. Hopefully, one more week. We'll try to get this train rolling.
One more week, and then we go to the Final Four. There he is, Bobby Hall Jr., your second place finisher. Finally, that brings us to V Speed Victory Lane, where Morgan Cook has your first time winner of the season. That's Michael Robinson.
Michael Robinson. Morgan, you got, holy cow, can't speak anymore. You got a copy.
Yes, sir, I got a copy.
All right. That was my name, I said. Very good. So this 4 truck, we didn't talk about you at all in the first 70 laps of the race, Bradley, something like that. We obviously saw you on the grid, and we saw that that bright Valvoline truck pacing around this racetrack, but you just showed up at the end. You had the fuel strategy, didn't pit, obviously. What was your thought process by not pitting, and did you think you could make it?
Well, for the first part, I felt I thought I can make it. Like I was like 2 laps are good, but then so I was like, how the pacing I was doing, I was like, okay, let me just back all this save because I was gonna do the alternate no matter what. So I had like nothing to lose really. So I was telling my teammate Jeremiah, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's just save fuel, and if a caution comes out, then hey, so be it. So glad the caution didn't came out because what we was doing is like it's going to work like no matter what. So then I was letting like other like Lucas, Bobby. I think Bobby was in front of me, but I was letting people going by, and then I started catching back up to them. And that couple laps to go, it's like, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to go all the way. I save enough fuel, and then just trying to make up to the lead and trying to win this race. And me, Bobby, just had a great finish.
How close were you on fuel at the end of that race? You obviously could do the burnout, but how many laps to the good were you when you crossed the line?
I was 0.3.
Oh boy.
So yeah. So I was like probably the next like I was out of fuel.
So was there any point in time when you were chasing down the 94? Obviously he ran out coming off of turn 4. That when you dove it into the corner, are you thinking, please don't sputter, please don't sputter? Were you going to try and slide job? And what was the plan if the 94 didn't run out of fuel in turn 4?
Well, basically, all I was trying to do is trying to be like right next to him, like at least trying to give me a chance to be side by side coming to the to the checker flag. But if I didn't have like nothing think about being sputtered, like at least it's coming to the win. But it was like 2 laps ago. Okay, that'd be like a whole different story. But other than that, I had like nothing behind my mind with that. So I was like, oh, I'm just going for it.
Well, obviously it worked out very well. You got him by, what was it, 0.067 seconds, something like that. Very close win. I think by about a fender is what you beat the 94 by. Who do you want to thank for this big win here at Iowa? Close out the season.
I'd like to thank my friends, family, Jeremiah, my teammate. Of course, you guys have done a phenomenal job this whole season with OiL, and I just keep on going. You know, we got 2 more races left. At least, I'm gonna have a enjoyment of this, and then probably come back to next season.
Right on. We'll be glad to have you next time out, certainly. Whether that be at Texas or next season, be fun to see you here on V Speed of this Overtake iRacing League. It's been a lot of fun, but congratulations, Michael, on this win. You led 1 lap. You really only led a couple hundred feet, but it counts nonetheless.
Yep, that's all it takes. Thank you, guys.
That is your winner tonight, Michael Robinson in the 4.
Said he led the last couple 100 feet. That is the closest that we've seen in a minute here in the truck series. Most of these races have been guys that, they'll spread out and get, 20, 30 laps led, but overall just a fantastic show. If you would have told me that most of the top 5 would be drivers that didn't even end up in the top 5 at any point in this race, to come out here and do what they did, and the fuel strategy, this was all premeditated. These guys knew coming into today what that lap count was going to be like, and I'm very, very confident that Michael Robinson's going to ride this momentum. This is his second podium, and this all happens within I believe the past 2 months or so, within the last probably 6 or 7 weeks, that Michael Robinson's starting to finish where he feels he deserves and where, he's had the speed, but putting it all together, and that just it snowballs from here, Morgan.
Yeah, momentum, it's and confidence. Those are the two things as a race car driver, that they come in waves, and it's like a tidal wave. Once it starts, you'll think it'll never end. And right now, he's on that hot streak. He's riding that wave, and hope to see this 4 truck have a lot more success in the future after winning here at Iowa.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the Overtake iRacing League Truck Series. That's a look at our schedule. Next week, we will be at Texas Motor Speedway for 100 laps and, of course, 150 miles. And then that will eliminate us for the final 4 drivers. This points battle is tight. We looked at that points battle momentarily throughout the day, but there's one more last look at it. Peyton Hubbard and Chris McCullough having an off day. Barrett Morton also an off day. Lucas Lyons is the beneficiary of all of this, so we'll have to wait on Cody Anderson and getting all those points calculated up here for the truck playoffs, but it's down to the final race before we go to the final 4 at Charlotte. But for everybody at V-Speed that helps put this together, Adam Baker, who does a lot of the designs and the pretty graphics, the awesome stuff here that you're seeing on your screen, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, who's an awesome co-broadcaster and producer here for V-Speed, working a lot of shows for us, Christian Hill, Logan Threlkeld. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your week. We will see you tomorrow night for 3-4 shows here on V-Speed. Take care, everybody.